you my backhand. My winner whizzes down the line. Betting weekly tennis live. Are you ready for it? Here we go.
All right, Betting Weekly Tennis Live. We are back in the Betting Weekly studios. It's Mitch Michaels. It's Nigel Seeley. It's all on the Bet Rivers Network. Download that app. We appreciate all the fans out there. Download the app. Follow us at the Because We Win socials on X, on Instagram, on YouTube. Over 10,000 subscribers growing on that YouTube channel. You also want to make sure you sign up for the newsletter as well. BettingWeeklyStudios.com. Mitch Michaels and Nigel Seeley. Nigel back again. It's the return of, well, it's not exactly Liam and Noel Gallagher, but it's Mitch and Nigel here on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to see Oasis on Friday night at Wembley Stadium. I can't wait. It's the biggest night of for literally 20 years. I was a huge fan when I was 21, 22, and I'm taking my 21-year-old son and my 23-year-old daughter. So I can't wait. I'm like a kid at Christmas. Anyway, I'm a kid at Christmas seeing you again, Mitch, as well. We haven't spoken since Wimbledon. I think the last time we done a show was Wimbledon. And it's always good to be on with you. A lot of energy here, lots of stuff going on. Not so good at the moment in my in-play. I've bet Kopriva in the match in play over in Umag against, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Droguet?
I think that's right. I think it's silent there. Yeah, we got live action. I mean, this is great because Umag and Kitzbühel are still going. We got the final matches finishing up there. And then, of course, just a ton of matches in D.C. starting out. We're strong with the window there. You have Taberner and Francisco Cerundolo. Man, with the two Cerundolo brothers, I got to say first names now because they're both kind of in the mix. Yeah. But it's Francisco and Taberner. They're even a set all, a game all. Cerundolo is minus 180 there. Your guy Kopriva is trying to stay in it. He's plus 265, down 2.5 there in Umag as well. In Kitzbühel, you have RBA taking on Thibos Field. Thibos Field is up a set, but break point for RBA plus 350. And then in DC, ton of matches I want to get into live. We're going to get in there in the second, Nigel. But how about Venus Williams at 45 years old, winning her first match back in over 700 days, beating Peyton Stearns, who's no slouch there. A lot of people thought the wild card was kind of a handout and it was opportunistic, but she wins her doubles match and then beats Peyton Stearns.
It was incredible, really. And it's one of those bets I just spoke to you off air, but I mean, there was a bit of money with her with Bet Rivers. I think across the board, she was around about a 16-1 shot to win that match. And then just before the game, she got bet into around about 10-1. Now, in hindsight, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I looked at it out. I literally, when you look at something, you think that's worth a bit of pizza money. That's worth $5 or $10. And I never did it. I never pulled the trigger. I never got involved. And then when I saw the result this morning, I didn't actually watch the match. Obviously, the time zone. You watched the game more than you watched the match more than me because obviously the time zone, it was in the middle of the night. But I thought to myself, that was one that got away. It was really one that got away. You got to think Washington. You know, a tournament plays quick. Her big serve, she's going to be a problem. But the market now has really, really sort of changed hugely. I mean, she was 16-1 yesterday to beat Peyton Stearns. Now she's a 3-1 chance to beat Magdalena Frech, who is arguably a much tougher opponent. And she's literally a fifth of the odds that she was to win yesterday. And I think the market has gone too much. Also, to play back-to-back, to back it up. I know it's a 24-hour rest period, but to back it up. Also, the weight of expectation on her is going to be huge. So I think it's one of those that we've missed the opportunity with her. But the nerves must be for Magdalena Frech.
That's it. Yeah,
she must be absolutely a bag of nerves, thinking I'm going to play Venus Williams. It must be horrible. How would you feel like playing her?
It's a lose-lose in a lot of ways, right? You're playing a legend of the sport. I guess the positive is you're going to have a lot of eyeballs on you because Venus of what she's done for the game. But yeah, if you win, you do what you're supposed to do. I think the point you made that's so accurate is we don't know how her body is going to respond to after playing a match. And she was building up for this first match back. What's match 2 going to look like? But no, it was a nervy performance by Stearns. She wasn't serving well. She was not really confident in a lot of her shots. But for Venus, as I said before we started, played aggressive. The serve is still there. For all the talk about Serena having the greatest serve in tennis, Venus is right up there too. So I thought she played smart, tactical, and was able to get it done. But it was just good to see her. If that was the last win she'll ever have, it was just very
just
good.
going to ask you a question here, and I know you don't really want to go into it too much about the state of women's tennis, that a 45-year-old player can come back and beat someone challenging the top 50 of the world. But say, for example, Serena Williams decided to come back for the US Open. Say she said, okay, I'm going to get in match mode. I'm going to come back for the US Open. Where would you put her? Where in the betting? Would you put her like, you know, what price would you give me Serena Williams to win? You know, she's not 100 to 1, but she.
No,
she,
I don't. I mean, I'm not as well versed as you in the like 30, 40. I just coming back and winning more than one match, right? Like, give me her one match against anyone, just about anyone. Hype for that match, trained properly, the nerve she's going to handle the moment. It was what we saw in her last US Open, right? How she followed up. I have pretty good intel that she was really banged up that entire run, and they had to do a lot to get her out on the court. So that's the problem. 7 matches pretty much every other day. I don't know that I'd go more than like 30 to 1.
But you wouldn't want to be playing her in round 1, that's for sure.
No.
I mean, and that was the thing there. I mean, but it was one of those bets that got away. It was a bet that you look on tomorrow morning and think, it was an opportunity. I haven't seen a woman win at that bigger price this year on the women's tour. Look at majors 16 to 1, 12 to 1. I've never
straight sets too.
It was a very, very impressive 6-3, 6-4. But the market is gone. The one thing I would say, I know obviously Troy and yourself are best. Troy's over in Washington, our producer. The weather there is not as hot as it has been, but it's very humid, and I think the scheduling is going to be crucial for Venus Williams. They're going to put her on night. That match will be a night match. You know that she's going to be late. They're not going to put her on first on call or give her a show call in those conditions because they want her to go as deep.
She's playing doubles too. She's playing doubles too. I mean, you wonder what happens if that's going to be a thing. Like,
that makes Magdalena Frech to me a decent bet tomorrow. I know it's not. I know it's minus 500 or something like that, but that makes it there a bit. But let me just give some of some in play before we switch across. We're going to go over across to Washington in a minute. Just before we do that, there's a tournament in Umag, and our senior ATP Tour handicapper Sean Calvert is over in Umag at the moment. You can follow him on our socials at Because We Win. He was quite keen on Kopriva to win the tournament, Vic Kopriva. Now, he's in trouble against Droguet. Droguet, I think it's how you pronounce it. But Vic Kopriva played a real topsy-turvy match in the first rounds against Collinon, sorry. And that was a match that swung. 1 minute it was going Kopriva's way, and then it was going Collinon's way, and then it was going Kopriva's way. He is a player that he comes back from unwinnable positions. And I'm just looking at, we missed the 16 to 1 shot yesterday, but I'm looking at Kopriva now at plus 360 on the Bet Rivers website now in plays. 1 set to love down, but I think at plus 360, Kopriva is a bet here because this is pretty much what he's done in the last couple of matches I've seen about him. He's got a lot of heart, a lot of spirit. He's a player that comes in good form in this tournament. He's playing a player who is also in good form, but at a lower challenger level. And I think if Kopriva can get, I think at those sort of plus 360 prices, Kopriva's a betting play to beat Droguet. I've already bet in pre-match, and I've gone in again just when he lost the first set at plus 360.
It's still clay over there, so I mean, there's more breaks.
It's very slow as well. It's very slow.
Yeah, more opportunities there. There's some live in DC, but I got to get your thoughts too. The other story, if it wasn't for Venus Williams, I think Nigel, as crazy as it is, who I might lead with in DC is Dan Evans, who just loves playing in DC. Every time he's over there, he just brings out the best in himself.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain players that for some reason the British players have never really been. It's not a hot climate here. We don't really have. We have the Brits have this kind of image in the sporting world as gallant losers. That they give it all for 5 sets, but don't really find a lot of heart and sort of go out tame with the event. That's the image that the American sports public and anyone has of a Brit. Our boxers used to be pretty poor. When Mike Tyson was dominated, we were all gallant kind of losers. But the 2 Brits in Washington, Dan Evans and Cam Norrie, absolutely thrive in this. This is their kind of tournament. When it's as hot as they possibly can, when they have to dig deep, when they have to really go through it, which is very unlike sort of traditional kind of Tim Henman-ish. And Andy Murray obviously changed that mold completely. But there is this kind of, mold that we're gallant kind of losers. But I love the spirit he's showing. I've loved the fight he's got into. It's a good win against Michelsen. But I would probably look at that result And I know that Dan Evans deserves all the credit he has, but Michelsen seems to be in a little bit of a slump at the moment. I think it's been a long season for him, and I think he's a player at the moment who is struggling for some kind of form. So although it was a very big win for Dan to come on the back of the win the day before against Zizou Bergs, I think that Michelsen is a player to fade at the moment in the way he's playing.
I think Nori's case is unique because he played college tennis. He's maybe more used to the climate, and also we saw him go in clay. He had that weird win over Alcaraz a couple years ago where he went to the brutal heat in South America, or Central America. So I think he's someone that can handle the elements. But yeah, it's fun to see where that's going, and just the live window of right now what's happening in DC. A lot of good men's matches. Zachary's Vaja's trying to hang on against Yuri Lehechka down 5-2 in the third set. He's a big money line dog if you think he can rally. Yibing Wu, who beat Monfils in round one handily, is gearing up for the third set against Alexei Poprin. Wu minus 130, and it's Poprin minus 109. Then the other match, quick start for Reilly Opelka, 3-1 up on Daniil Medvedev serving, got the break. He's minus 124 to minus 115. It seems like that set's over, and I wanted to focus on that match because Opelka has maybe been playing a little bit better, but Medvedev is the story with what's going on with him. He's a hardcourt player by nature, but not a good start, at least in his opening match here to his hardcourt campaign.
Not a good year. Beating the second round of Wimbledon by Nakashima, beating the first round of Eastbourne by Mencic, lost to Rinderknech against Queen's Club, lost to Bergs, in Hertogen-Bosch. These are matches that he was heavy favourite for in every single one. Sorry, that was Opelka's form. Sorry, I've got the two of their form. I read the wrong one. He lost against Bonzi, didn't he? In Wimbledon, lost in the final of Halle against Bublik, but he was favourite in both of them. He also got beat by Opelka, remember, in the quarter final in Hertogen-Bosch. Yeah. So he has got some record against him. But the thing is with Medvedev is a player that always kind of has excuses for why he's not playing well on the grass. He has excuses why he's not playing well on the clay. This is his kind of bread and butter. This is the surface that he wants. He likes the hard court. He loves the American swing. He's had a bad season, but I wouldn't write him off just there. I'll be writing him off in that set, but I'm looking at that match now, and if I was forced to have a bet or looking to have a bet, I'd have to bet the over 25.5 games because I expect Opelka to win this. I would expect Medvedev to win the second set, and then it's all to play for in set number 3. So I think over 25.5 games, and it's always a good strategy in Opelka games anyway to bet the overs. But I know he's 4-1 down now, but it's only one break. It's going to probably very hard for him to come back from that. But I think 25.5 over would be the bet I'll be having in play now.
We got that match going on, and I do agree. I think the over is a good play here. I think there's still a tiebreaker, obviously, possibility. And the Wu Popper match is the other one going on right now. No women's matches. Kalinskaya just dusted Magdalena. There's a couple women's matches later in the day, but yeah, it's starting to roll up. And I know that we have matches that we wanted to focus on, Nigel, in DC. I think there's a few that you wanted to highlight, and then we can go to and discuss more. But one of the matches coming up a little bit today that I wanted your thoughts on, it's going to be played at about 3 o'clock tentatively, is Maria Sakkari taking on Emma Navarro. Sakkari got off to a good start, beating Katie Bolter. Navarro is a 2-1 favorite. And this is the question that I have as you see the betting odds on the screen there. That game spread's awfully high as well. But Emma Navarro has been juiced up pretty high recently. And do you think those numbers reflect where she is, and in this match in particular, where she should be?
Well, I watched her firsthand on the grass court campaign. I watched her play Anisimova in the quarterfinals at Queen's Club, and I watched her play in the first round at Queen's Club as well against, I think she played, was it Samsonova? I can't remember. I think she played Samsonova in the first round, or Alexandrova. Anyway, her serve was all over the place, and her serve lets her down in big key points. The one thing that you would have to say in the matches against Emma Navarro is that I quite like to play her blind on the overs, because she's got lots of heart, she's got lots of desire, she gives away a lot of double faults on crucial points, but she never gives up. She's got some tenacity. She's got that kind of New York spirit that she's got in her, and that fight and determination. And she's up against a player in Sakkari who's basically got a free hit at this stage of her career. A player who's as high as number 4 in the world, who's 1,000 events, who actually leads 2-1 in their head-to-heads here against her. She beat the last 2 times they played last year in Indian Wells and Dubai. So there has been money for Sakkari today, which it is an interesting factor, because Sakkari is a player that has sort of had an indifferent 18 months or so. But again, I think I quite like the over here. And if I was forced to have a bet, I think I'd have to actually bet Sakkari at the price. I think I would have to bet it. What price are we getting on Sakkari?
Plus 160, I believe, is the number we're looking at. Yeah, plus 160. So one has a hard court match under her belt, the Bolter match. This is Navarro's first return there. And not to go full conspiracy theorist, Nigel, but she's got Navarro's got her Cincinnati next week, one of her tournaments that her father runs. So maybe looking ahead to that a little bit too.
I like all that kind of stuff. I love all that kind of stuff. I love all that I kind of like that thing. She doesn't want to go there. I mean, and that enhances the Sakkari bet even more. I like Sakkari there and overs.
You had a men's match we wanted to highlight, and it's an interesting Spanish affair. It's Fokina taking on Munar. That'll be later today, too. A pretty razor-thin line. Munar had been playing well. We saw the win over we saw him really get his breakthrough, getting as far as he's ever been in a major at Wimbledon, getting through Bublik and others. He's a slight underdog, plus 108 against ADF. There you see the spread, the over at 23.5, some set bets as well. But Nigel, this Spanish affair, guys that know each other decently well, how do you see it shaking out? What action do you like?
Yeah, the reason why I put this one in is because I recorded Game Bet Match earlier with Sean, and we covered a lot of the matches for this evening and tomorrow as well, which you'll be able to get now on the YouTube channel. But I put this one in because it wasn't one that we covered. We've always been very keen on Munar in terms of his statistics. He always gets himself into winning possibilities and matches where he should have won, and he always never seems to get over the line. If you look at big crucial points, Munar is one of the highest players to be a fade on crucial points. His conversion rate is extremely low, so it suggests he hasn't really got that winning kind of mentality. And the person who's number one in points the way he should be converting and winning points is Davidovich Fokina. So these are two players who have huge amount of talent and players that have got a huge amount of ability, but they're two players who are really, really flaky on big points, who get very, very tight, very, very nervous. And the fact that it's a match between two countrymen here, I am really, really keen on the over. If you look at the three matches they played recently, they played once in a challenger back in 2018, but in the three matches they played recently, every single match has gone to a final set, and it's been 2-1 to Davidovich Fokina, although the overall head-to-head is 2-2. I think that both of these players are well capable of flashes of brilliance, but to put some consistency together, and when it comes to crucial points, they don't have the mental capacity to win those big points, and that is the big problem for both these players. I've watched Davidovich Fokina over the years throw some absolutely incredible winning positions away, and the same for Munar as well. So I like this to go quite deep. My angle here is definitely over the games, over 2.5 sets. Lots of different markets on the Bet Rivers website. I would be slightly worried about the total over, because especially if you're going to play the set number 1 over or set number 2 over, is because both these players have played in 3, 6, 9, 11 sets of tennis, and not one of the 11 sets have cashed over 10.5 games. But the match is so slow. So when they win the set, it's 6-3, 6-2, 6-4, 6-1. Never, you wouldn't see these two playing a 7-6, 7-5 type of game outside. They both go for big shots. They both make lots of mistakes, and there's always breaks. So I like over 2.5 sets, and I also like the over total. But in set number 1 or set number 2, I wouldn't be tempting you to bet over in those sets. Do it on the match itself.
Makes sense. I mean, these are players that, again, a lot to play for. You talk about motivation, you talk about the experience, the conditions, maybe the over there, and I'm just looking forward to this matchup because there's a lot of opportunity. We mentioned the seeds falling. This was a comment I wanted to discuss too. Over 2.5 sets in Rybakina Mboko. That's the night match tonight, Nigel, and it's going to be one that I think we're going to be looking for to see if Mboko can have her big breakthrough. She's looked good, the Canadian teenager. She's got a lot of hype, and she's someone going forward. Rybakina has the major title to her name, but is this a chance? Is this a star-making performance that we've seen in these tennis tournaments?
Yes, I think it could potentially will be, because you got a Rybakina who comes here, who didn't look really that fit again against Towson at Wimbledon. I think she was a real takeout player in the early part of Wimbledon, and obviously the performance against Towson was a question mark. We know that she has breakdowns of her body. She knows she's had problems with her fitness and illness over the last few years, and I think that Mboko will have a huge amount of support here. I would probably expect Rybakina to come through here, but I think it will be testing. So again, I look for the over on the total. I think the first set could be quite tight. My view of this is Rybakina to show her skill and get through this match, but with a bit of a scare, and Mboko to put on a performance. I'm not quite sure whether Mboko is ready yet for this elite level to beat these kind of players. I mean, it was a big win against Potapova. It was a big win, but you look at her record. She hasn't really had a scalp against a real big player yet, and I think that will come. But I think the market, sometimes in the tennis, we get a name, we get a fixation with a name and a player that's going to do really well, and then the line, it's not the kind of price that we want.
Fonseca.
Yeah, we're getting on this kind of hype about them, and I just got this feeling that she may be a little bit overrated at this moment in time. There's no doubt about it. She's going to be a superstar. She's got our home tournament coming up in a couple of weeks as well in Canada as well, which is going to be where she really wants to perform in that 1,000 there. But I think she'll be very competitive, and she'll make it very competitive. But if Rybakina is fit in these conditions, I think she'll have too much for her.
I definitely agree that we're both buying that she's going to get there, that scalp, as you say, will come. And I actually do like that on Bet Rivers app. I like that bet plus 155 over 2.5 sets because, like you, I don't know that she'll have enough tonight, but to win a set, to make it a 3-set match, sure, I think she can absolutely do it. There's clear ingredients there, so I'm with that bet. But there's a lot of different ways you can play this to expect a long match, but ultimately not go full backing Mboko.
Yeah, that's exactly my way of thinking. I think to take a set would be the way I'd be looking at it, or over in set number 1. But we know that she's got talent, but has she got that kind of mentality to beat a two-time? She's a two-time, isn't she, Rebecca? A two-time major champion. She's a two-time major champion, Rebecca.
Just one. She lost in the final of Aussie to Sabalenka. So, man, to take a set, minus 122. Yeah. So we've got a lot. We've got a lot to get to here still on Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Mitch Michaels and Nigel Seeley. And Nigel, another thing to kind of get to, we all talk about the newsletter, right? Go to bettingweeklystudios.com to get your newsletter. Drops on Monday. The Insider arrives on Fridays. It's not just tennis. You've got all these other sports. You've got insight, expert handicap advice. And I know the newsletter has been a big passion of yours, and another thing that's just a must-have for the bettors in your life.
Yeah, it's very good. Monday's newsletter comes out, gives you 3 picks each week. We're 2-0 this week, and there's a bet tonight on the Champions League soccer over here, which one of our soccer handicappers, Jack Wright, has given. Myself and Rory have given 2 tennis bets, both won. So we're in a bit of form on there. And at the weekend, there's like a guide to the weekend. It will give you a breakdown of the big sporting events on that weekend and give you some insights in terms of, like, we did ATP Tour guys, Challenger guys, WTA guys, power rankings. It's all in there. So it's a central part. And it's there 2 times. It comes to a very, very short video format on a Monday, and on a Friday it comes out in the longer format. So make sure you subscribe. It's well worth doing, and it's free. This channel's free. The newsletter's free. It's this is the best sports content out there across all multitude of different sports, and it's all free for our subscribers and our loyal followers here on the show.
Loyal followers get in. The bandwagon is always taking new fans and customers. So anybody that wants to join, they certainly can. We'll get to some more look-aheads in DC, but just a quick update on where we are right now in terms of the live odds. You have Opelka about to get to 2 points away from winning that first set. No surprise there. Wu Poprin are in that early 3rd set. And, looking at Umag right now, it's Taberner Sarundalo on serve 3-all. Kopriva is, 2-1 down on serve in his matchup there. We've also got the start just about to get going. Arnaldi and Sonego, Nigel. Not sure if you have any thoughts on that one. A lot of country-made affairs on this one. Here's the Italian battle, but any thoughts on Arnaldi Sonego?
We covered it yesterday on Betting Weekly Game Bet Match, and Sean was quite keen on Sonego, actually. And at the time, there was a bit of a drift in the market, and the market was very strong against Sonego. Since then, there's been a big move for Sonego. So he's keen on Sonego for the match. I haven't really got much of an opinion on the match. The one thing that shocked me is they've never played before. I was quite surprised by that. 2 Italian players been around now for a few seasons. You would have thought they would play, but they hadn't. Their hard court season stats this season are absolutely identical: 7 wins, 6 losses. They're well ranked in the split by a couple of spots, and it looked a very, very, very difficult game to call to me. I thought it was probably a 50-50 call, but Sean was keen on Sonego, and the guy, he's been on absolutely amazing form. So I would go with Sean and go with Sonego.
Nice to see De Jong still playing well. That was close. You guys were right there. It was right there.
We've hit the crossbar a couple of times on some outright picks, but yeah, that was a little bit of disappointing. Unfortunately, Kopriva's going to break down now, so he's got it all to do. He's in a bit of trouble. 3-1 down, not playing very well, Vic Kopriva. So that looks like a bad loss for me. And obviously, one of our outright picks, the tournament winner picks, could be going out there.
I got a men's match from DC I'm excited for because I like this matchup and the possibilities in it. Lerner Tien taking on Andrey Rublev. Lerner Tien, who beat Emilio Nava in his first match, plays Rublev, who lost in the Los Cabos semifinals. There you see the money line, 225 minus for Rublev, plus 175 for Lerner. The over-under is at 22.5. Nigel, I think Rublev's in some trouble here. I do. And I put it this way. I think styles make fights in boxing and other sports. I think there's a game plan for what can frustrate Andrey Rublev, and I do think Lerner Tien has a lot of those ingredients in his own game. But thoughts on where the price is, though, especially is this value overpriced, underpriced for this matchup?
Well, I just overlooked it. I didn't really have much of an opinion on it. So I'm more intrigued to hear what you've got to say, Mitch, rather than what I've got to say. I mean, if you look at it, I always like where the money goes. And the early money has gone for Lerner Tien. He's been bet this morning with Bet Rivers. If you look at the line movement, that price has moved quite a lot from the opening line. And that is an interesting one for me. Andrey Rublev is obviously a player that could have a complete and utter meltdown if things aren't going his way. And Lerner Tien will make him play a little bit and could get not only into the game, but also into the Russian's head.
He grinds, he pushes. I mean, that's part of it, right? Like, and I think Rublev's big issue, and we'll see, right? Murad Safin working with him. It seems like it's going well. Obviously, Safin was an idol to Rublev and a lot of Russian players, a lot of young players born in the 90s in general. But will Rublev come forward? Can he get to net more than he has? Can he shorten points? Because there's kind of a game plan to beat him, right? We know how good the forehand is. The backhand can break down. And I just think there's a path where, and we'll see what the conditions are. I mean, Rublev is both these guys are very good in the heat too. So I see maybe if you want to play it safer and over, get to 3 sets. But I think Lerner's a live dog in this one. I really do.
Well, you've convinced me, Mitch. I'll be having a few of the little bit of the Sealy dollars on there to try to get some of my money back from my Kopriva losses on Lerner Tien tonight.
I got to pick my spots right. Last week or on Monday with Dustin Fox, it was Zvaja against Kekmanovic. I think I'm like, hey, this guy's a live dog here, and then he ended up winning that match. It didn't go as well today, but we got to be smart, responsible. Matchups tomorrow too, and I know you had one you wanted to talk about. How could you not talk about this matchup taking place tomorrow? Emma Raducanu, fresh off beating Marta Kostyuk, taking on Naomi Osaka, done and dusted Putintseva yesterday. Here's where the betting market stands right now, both in the minus. Naomi minus 120, Emma minus 104. You see game spreads, set spreads, over under 21.5. Both of these players, Nigel, I think it's safe to say, have just title aspirations and expectations that they could be a factor in this tournament. But here they meet in their second matchup. So thoughts on where this line sits, how it might move, and who might be the play here?
Well, I mean, you know my record on Emma Raducanu is the worst read I can ever call. The minute I think she can win, I bet her to beat Zheng in Queen's Club, and it was an embarrassing performance from her. I've opposed her in so many matches against Shramkova, against Queen's Club. I opposed her against lots of players, and it's never gone my way. She played very, very well at Wimbledon. I think she will regret her performance against Sabalenka. I think she could have beaten Sabalenka if she believed it a little bit more, because what we saw Sabalenka go on and do the round after when she struggled, and then she obviously got beat by Anisimova. She was there for the taking at Wimbledon. She had a few meltdowns, and Raducanu will look at that match and think, I could have done better there. The win over Vondrousova and informed Vondrousova was superb, and she's taken that confidence and played very well against Kostyuk. The only slight worry I had was Kostyuk is coming on the back of a really bad slump at the moment. Not really at it. Her early season stats were unbelievable from the Ukrainian, but she's lost the last 5 matches, so that was a bad performance. And I think she lost all those 5 matches in straight sets. Osaka is a player that everybody expects to just hit form and just see the player that we've seen in years gone by. She seems to be just touching a little bit form, but hasn't gone on to the levels that we're expecting. And I think this is a big match for both players, because it will kickstart their American hard court season. Whoever wins this will think they've got a good chance of going deep in the Open. Whoever thinks goes into Cincinnati and goes into Canada thinking they've got a good chance. So I think this is a really, really big match for both players. And again, I sound like a broken record here. I think this could go long. I think this is another over 2.5 over total games. I think this is a long one.
Yeah, it's so fascinating because both these players feel like they're close, but they need wins. So how can they get this not just for the title here potentially, but to go forward into Canada, into Cincinnati, and then ultimately the U.S. Open, where they've both won the tournament outright. Maybe, dare I say, and I'm with you in a long match, but maybe you go back to the well. First set, if you're expecting a long one, over 9.5 games, I think it's -106. So maybe we start the gate, or maybe no.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it'll be nervy the first set, but I mean, Raducanu doesn't. She wins. She's a lot of her sets are a lot unders. If you look at her sets, a lot unders. But I do think they'll both play each other a huge amount of respect for the first couple of service games each, and then they'll go and try to hit the winners and take the game. So I do like the overs. But I think even though this isn't a big tournament, and it's a 500, it's not like a massive tournament, like 1,000 or a major, still a biggish tournament. But it feels like a huge match for both of these players at their stage of their career for this season. I think the winner of this could really go deep in this tournament, and the winner of this will go into the next week and the weeks in the next month in very, very confident form. And I think it's a huge match for both of them. So I do believe there's going to be a little bit of respect for the two of them, and I do think we'll have a long one.
And I know we don't know what's going to unfold. That's the beauty of sports. But maybe this is a live look at the odds. Maybe there's plays as the match goes and progresses, because both of these players, Nigel, have had trouble getting across the finish line, whether it's in sets or in Naomi's. Both at Wimbledon had opportunities. Obviously, Emma versus Sabalenka, and then Osaka in the Pavlyuchenkova match. So maybe there's a live play too to look at.
There is, and there is this kind of thing with Emma Raducanu. I just think that she's doing. If you looked at Emma Raducanu, I would say that she's an 85%, like there, almost to where she was. I think she's that, but I still think she's got this lack of belief, and I think it's a mental thing with her. And I think if she goes on a winning run and she starts beating some big players and big names, I think she suddenly then could become the player that she once was. And I think she needs a big win, and the same for Osaka. So it's a huge match. I'm going overs.
We have right now just an update. So Medvedev, Opelka 1-all in set 2. Medvedev at +132. Is there value in that play? Is there a number we're looking at, or if you're walking me through the live angle on that one?
Well, he's got to break the serve. I still like the overs. I think if you're gonna bet Medvedev to win it, you need to go overs, don't you? So I'm happy with my over position and take that. I mean, I think we played 26.5 and it's gone up to 25.5. It's gone up to 27.5 now, so we're in good shape. The good news for us is Kopriva broke straight back, so we got a chance. We got a chance. He's 15-30 on his own serve, but this is the kind of match that Kopriva's played for the last couple of weeks.
We've also got a play that a match you want to highlight for tomorrow. Quarterfinal action in Kitzbühel. It's Arthur Rinderknecht taking on Yannick Hanfmann. There you see the lines. It's -141 for Hanfmann. Rinderknecht is +114. Razor thin on the spread. That over-under sits at 23.5. You've got set bets as well. So, Nigel, what's the read on this one? Two players that are still on the clay, looking to get to that semifinal round and beyond in Kitzbühel.
My play here is to be very, very careful with your bets, because I think at altitude, and if we were playing on normal conditions, I think it suits Hanfmann over Rinderknecht. I think this is the conditions that Rinderknecht will like. I think that he will. He should be a worthy favourite, and he will win. He will win this match. I'm pretty confident he will beat Rinderknecht. He wants it a little bit quicker. I don't think clay is not really after Rinderknecht's his surface, and I think that Hanfmann will win. My worry, and this is my big worry, is the weather in Kitzbühel for the rest of the tournament is torrential rain and thunderstorms. So there is going to be a downpour. It looks as though it's not going to stop now from now until Monday. Now, if that is the case, then they may have to move this tournament to indoors. And then you have a very, very, very different read on how these matches are going to go. So not only this match, I would look at all the matches at Kitzbühel tomorrow, and don't place a wager yet until we find out what the tournament is going to happen. They may move this indoors, because it doesn't look like there's any possibility that they can play any tennis over the next 5 days. Thunderstorms, lightning, heavy rain. Now, the weather forecast can be wrong, But just looking at that weather forecast, there is an indoor court which isn't far from the venue. And I think the only option they have to get this through is to put it indoors. Now, if that is the case, there's a massive, massive rebase on all this tournament, the outright market, the matches. So,
but is it clay still?
I don't know. This is what I don't know. But I was reading through an article, and they said that there's an indoor. I don't think it will be clay. I think it will go into an indoor tournament. So, if you look at the weather forecast, Mitch, it's absolutely diabolical. So I would be really, really, really careful in placing a bet on Kitzbühel tomorrow. So what you might see could be completely and utterly different if they move indoors. So I did like Hanselman, but the way the weather is going and the possibility of changing it to an indoor event would be very, very calm. Be very calm.
Well, there you go. There's a lot of that. That's a lot of good insight. The advice and the play on that one is to stay safe out there. I like it. Definitely. It's good. Any other, before we wrap up, any other matches coming up? Any other events or matches?
Well, we got the tournament over in Prague, the women's tournament in Prague, where we're on Linda Noskova to win the tournament. She's been a semi-finalist, a finalist, and semi-finalist in the last 3 years. She's got through to the quarterfinals, but the big talking point is the young Czech girl who's been absolutely amazing this week, and I can't remember her name now. What's her name? Valentinova. Valentinova. Yeah. Valentinova. She's been unbelievable. We did highlight her on the Betting Weekly WTA. She had a big win today against Shramkova, and 5 of the 8 players left in the tournament are all from the Czech Republic. So it is a tournament that's been dominated by Czech players, and it looks like it's going to be dominated by them. So Linda Noskova is in action tomorrow against Siniakova. We will be a marginal favourite in that match, and we're hoping for her to go forward. But this girl here is really making a name for herself, Valentinova, and she looks good. She looks very, very good. What I saw today, and she held it together against Shramkova. She went a couple of breaks down, and then she battled back, and she looks a player who's got it. And I think the win here will take her out. If she goes deep in this tournament, she'll go easily inside the top 100, up to probably 70 in the world, and she could be a name to keep an eye on for the rest of the season because she looks like a real player.
Some men's matches in DC I'm just going to be paying attention to. I'm really looking forward to Mute and Evans. I don't know what to expect in that one. I want to see Diallo on hard court versus Shelton. And then
he looks a big price, Diallo. I thought Diallo looked a big price at +175.
Yeah, I thought so too. I actually he's come down a lot as I'm looking at Bet Rivers right now. Diallo's +143 on Bet Rivers.
Yeah, that's a big move. It was +175 earlier today. I've been really impressed with him on the grass court campaign. He looks a player that is going. But the only thing I would worry about is next week. Yeah, you've got Canada, and he might prioritize a run at Canada rather than here in Washington. I don't know.
Venus is +310. The spread on that right now is 5.5 games -136. So something to consider there. And I would also just say, I'm curious, Leylah Fernandez, Pegula. Pegula's mixed in some clunkers at times. Fernandez is, I think, +235. So that's one I'm going to monitor a little bit and see.
The curse of the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed here in Washington's only ever won the tournament twice, and they were the first 2 years that participated. Haven't won it for many, many years, the number 1 seed. Unseeded players do well. Number 1 seeds do not do well in Washington, and Pegula is the number 1 seed. So straight careful. She's got to bounce back from that Wimbledon disappointment. I haven't forgotten that, betting her to win the tournament. So I know a lot of people who watch this show won't be putting her in at -$2 or whatever it is. But that could be an issue. Fernandez looked good in round 1. She looked good. So I get back again. Canada coming up as well. Yeah. I'll be thinking about that.
So we have the Medvedev Opelka match going on now. Medvedev trying to win the second, force a third, and Kopriva down 3-4, but back on serve in set 2, +525. Nigel trying to get it home. So
yeah, he's got a fight. He's got a lot of fighting in Kopriva, and it's slow. So don't worry too much about a break of serve, because if they do go a breakdown, I know we're running out of time, but breaks of serves in UMAG in the slow conditions, it's a very slow clay court there at the moment.
Well, if he comes back going into that, wins the match, and then going into the show coming up, we'll see if it's a little bit of a champagne Casanova for you. Just rolling.
There you go. There's a bit of oasis there. Champagne supernova, champagne Casanova.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
This was fun, though, Nigel. Always a blast. Good to catch up post-Wimbledon, Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Again, it's 1 o'clock Eastern time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, your go-to gambling show. We've got a ton of good content and bets, and this time zone is going to be perfect because we're gearing up for so many different matchups on North America. We still got clay action this week, and tennis is around the world. It doesn't stop, so this show is always going to be a blast. And make sure you subscribe to the channels and the newsletter, Nigel. But fun show as always, man.
Yeah, good to see you, Mitch. Take care, mate. Have a good week, and Looking forward to Oasis on Friday. I might be a little bit worse for wear on Saturday morning for the Game Bet Match Show, but I'll be there. Don't worry.
This was Betting Weekly Tennis Live for Nigel Seeley. I'm Mitch Michaels. Download the Bet Rivers Network app and follow our socials at Because We Win. We'll see you Monday for another edition of the show. Enjoy the tennis, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.